Hey everyone, it's adventure time in the shop. On the rack, 1970 CB750 that is getting jigged. Jiggity jig. If you've been paying attention to what I've been doing in the previous videos, this thing has been running and not running and then running again. And then, as I stated previously, it's the wrong color, so I cut it apart. Well, that's kind of a joke. Well, it is a joke. But the cool thing is, because I cut it apart, I had to have a way to put it back together so that this ends up being in kind of the right spot-ish. Right about here. So, to facilitate that, I dug through my scrap bin. I had, well, it wasn't necessarily scrap because I was still hanging on to it, but maybe it's scrap for other people. But I had a bunch of square tube, had some bags and some bins of bolts, had some of this 1" by 2" square tube that I was going to use initially. I welded it together and took it to the belt sander to kind of true it up a bit. And that I may still use some of that, but I used it down here for this base. So this cross beam has a jack bolt on it, and then this cinch bolt that goes down and hooks into the bottom of the lift top. And then kind of hiding underneath there is a cinch bolt that draws from the bottom all the way up to the top to keep everything tight. So the idea is once I get to the place where I'm actually going to get the frame on the jig and get everything ready, this will be leveled, and then I'm going to level those beams that come forward, and a similar cross arm here. Get a better look at it. So jack bolt underneath, and then it cinches to the top deck. And there's that draw bolt that I was talking about right there. There's a nut that I welded on the underside there, and I just used some 3/8 all thread, and then threw a nut on the top. I had contemplated putting some pinch plates on either side of this to jam this all together, but I figured that this is going to be really close because of this section is actually going to have the steering head fixture on it here. Eventually I got to make that. Got to put the taper cones and the shaft, and then the assembly that's down here that will set the angle and clamp onto this, and it'll be able to slide up and down on this 2x2. So I just finished up making these clamp plates. So I went to the local metal store and kind of went through their rems and end cuts pile, which was kind of cool. Got it at weight rather than at length. So snagged a bunch of this 4" by 3/16, which for this works out perfectly, because I just cut some 4x4 pieces, or some 4" long pieces off the 4" wide flat bar. Made 6 of them, stacked them all together, tacked them together, took them over to the drill press, drilled all of these holes at the same time, busted them all apart, and then I just got finished tack welding these nuts on the back side. So basically set this to level and clamp it. And cinches this whole assembly together. I'm contemplating putting some sort of a brace from here down, kind of adjustable kind of thing. Not sure, because I can definitely hit this and it'll move, that way. So, if I'm doing anything serious in the future, maybe for this it'll be good enough. But as you're building a frame and you're welding it all together, it's pulling pretty hard on stuff, and you don't want this stuff to move. So it may end up with a brace at some point. But so one of these is going to go back there, and then I'm going to build a standard or a section that's going to come up and replace the wheel, and it'll bolt in where the axle is presently, and so that'll position the swing arm height. Perfect timing for the air compressor to turn on, don't you think? All right, so I was saying, and then the other one is going to come in the middle here. I'm going to have a piece that comes up, and then it'll rest underneath the frame right here, and so reference the bottom of the frame rails. That's probably have one right about there under the frame, and then I'm going to build another one that sets, and it'll reference the bottom of the swing arm, the pivot point. I mean, if I'm building a frame in the future, I'll have a bracket jig that will position this the swing arm pivot point and reference it to the jig. But for this, all I need to do is try and get things square relative to the axles, and so that the front wheels, are in line with each other. So, yeah, pretty excited. That's making progress. I should be able to, if I don't get a bunch of honeydews tomorrow, I'll get all of those moved down, build another section of the jig, and then I got some tubing. So this will be the back spline, and then these are the down tubes sections. So that'll all start going back into here, going up, and I'll set the neck. I got this cleaned up, kind of roughed in. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to need to do there, but it'll get some gusseting and all that. And so I got all of somebody had filled it with body filler. It was a nasty job, and it's just made a mess of my shop, but it's more contained where I did it. So rather than when I was grinding on it here, it just freaking blew up my shop. I mean, it's just everywhere. And of course, when I'm fabbing like this, my shop is a disaster. But anyway, there you go. Hope you enjoy it. If you don't mind, click the button down below. Like, subscribe, do that. Helps me with making some of this content. Let me know what you guys want to see. This engine is probably not coming apart. I'm just going to make it run. But I'm definitely changing the color. This head is tan. It's just wrong. So that's going to get cleaned up. I'll give more details on that later on. But motivation at this point in time is I got to get frame back on it, the front forks back on it, so that I can get it off the frame rack and the lift, because I have a ZX11 waiting, a Bandit 1200 waiting, Concours 1000, and then I've got another 950 sitting in the wings, not that one, but one similar to mine, that I got a bunch of work to do. So got to keep honking on this. So hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think, and if there's any content you guys want to see, just do the comment thing down below. All right, bye.